The Sarlacc was among the most feared creatures in the entire galaxy, primarily over its horrific method of digesting living beings who were unfortunate enough to become its food. Knowledge of this led to some exceptionally cruel crime lords, notably Jabba the Hutt, to punish their enemies by throwing them into one of their mouths. So what was the exact fate of the victims eaten by a Sarlacc? Although the massive gaping mouth of an adult Sarlacc was usually the only visible part of the creature after it had buried itself within the surface of a planet, it was only a small portion of the otherwise gigantic beast, with its stomach making up over half of its mass. Once swallowed, the victims were forced into one of the multiple stomachs of the underground organism. If the Sarlacc's main stomach was at full capacity, then those consumed afterwards would be sent to its smaller stomachs to be kept for later digestion. Those within the secondary stomachs were kept in tight chambers no larger than a coffin, and were often restrained by its numerous inner tentacles. Those inside its primary stomach, on the other hand, were quickly embedded into its walls, rendering them immobile. Once attached to the walls, the digestive fluids covered their bodies, while the inner tentacles injected them with toxins that kept the prey fully conscious and alive despite being slowly eaten away. Although only a few alien species had lifespans that reached over 1,000 years, all beings swallowed by a Sarlacc and injected with its toxins were kept alive for centuries, if not over 1,000 years, regardless of their original lifespans. The digestive fluids quickly ate away at the victim's skin and outer muscles, before the tentacles fused them directly into the stomach's walls, turning them into husks of meat that made them unrecognizable to their original appearances. At this stage, rescue was essentially impossible, as by that point the prey was in all purposes simply a part of the Sarlacc's stomach system, and removing them from it would result in their instant death. While fused into the walls of the stomach, the prey remained fully conscious, with them only feeling intense pain that remained constant throughout their centuries of imprisonment. While most prey were finally freed from this hell by the end of a millennia, as they were fully digested by that point, there were rare cases of those never leaving the nightmare of the Sarlacc, usually only happening to its earliest victims. Some prey had their consciousnesses fused within the creature, forming a hive mind of sorts, as their minds merged with the Sarlacc's own, allowing them to maintain awareness long after their physical bodies had been turned into liquid. At that point, the only escape for them was to have the Sarlacc be killed. Otherwise, they could remain conscious for as long as the beast remained alive, with their own lifespans being in the upper 50,000 years. Only a few rare cases are known of beings escaping a Sarlacc once swallowed, one of whom was Boba Fett. His full body armor delayed the initial digesting effects of the stomach fluid, and protected him from its toxins. Eventually, he was able to activate his jetpack and fly out of its mouth, leaving him badly injured but nonetheless capable of surviving following his escape. Once Boba fully recovered, the data he attained from his helmet while inside the Sarlacc gave the galaxy's biologists a one-of-a-kind insight into the creature's biology, to which they concluded its functions acted more like a plant than an animal.